Ron Paul interviews Edward Snowden. The deep state is trampling on our freedoms. The deep state, trampling on our freedoms, threatening our liberty, and is answerable to nobody, not even the President of the United States. Edward Snowden warned during an interview with Ron Paul this week. Baxter Dimitri reports. Snowden, whose 2013 leak of government documents showed how the NSA spies on all of us, constantly without a warrant, also warned that trading freedom of government promises of security will only lead the country down a dark path. The most sinister quality of the deep state, says Snowden, is its ability to mask its very existence from the public, allowing it to undermine President Trump while remaining largely hidden from scrutiny. Quote, generally, when we're talking about the deep state, what we're talking about is a massive government that survives beyond administrations, but that is not responsible to the politics of the people. This belongs not to a particular political party, but it serves across parties, across party lines, across administrations, end quote. You can watch the embedded video here. Ron Paul tweets, June 20th, he says, security or surveillance? The Edward Snowden interview. Don't miss this very special Ron Paul Liberty Report. And that's what we see here. The deep state's culture of anonymity and secrecy convinces employees that they are untouchable and won't even be held accountable for their actions, Snowden said. They can do whatever they want, in other words, spy and survey anybody they want. And Snowden explains that even routine communications between employees at the CIA and NSA are classified by default. Quote, everything we do at the NSA and CIA is typically classified by default unless you actually work to make it not classified. When I sent an email about lunch plans to one of my office buddies, that was going to be classified. Even the most banal email that you're sending is classified, end quote. Though he says he favors small government and opposes widespread surveillance, Snowden balked at being branded a libertarian by Paul, arguing that labels like libertarian or liberal aren't entirely accurate. He says, quote, we're more than tribes or labels. It is true that I think we have challenges that are derived from governments reaching a new scale that they have not previously occupied historically, allowing for the rise of these sorts of superstates, end quote. With the passage of time, the scrutiny on Edward Snowden and his leaks has subsided, allowing him to focus on the wider picture. And he says, things are really crazy that close to the event in 2013, you never knew what was happening and what they were saying from the government side. There was this cycle of deception that was occurring where the journalists would publish some report and say that it wasn't happening and this is how they're violating your rights. Then the government would immediately come out and say, oh no, we don't do that. That's a misunderstanding. That's not quite right. And then they'd issue various denials to these reports. Then immediately the journalists would have to find some particular point that disproved the government's counter-report. Then the government would sort of walk back their denial, and this went on and on and on, end quote. And he added, this was really consuming my life, the journalists' lives, and the lives of everybody involved for the longest time. But as we've gotten farther and farther from that event, I've gotten free to pursue my own interest once again. Small government tends to be more respecting of individuals' rights than large governments, and the question we need to ask is why? End quote. This is by Baxter Dimitri on your Newswire, and you can see the embedded video.